Hi guys, this is Emily Onufrak, and these are just some highlights of my Diverse Learner project. I hope you enjoy. The first diverse learner that I chose to focus on for my project is a 8-year-old female named Barbara. She comes from a white middle-class family. Barbara does have an IEP. She has significant disabilities. She is labeled under the special education category of multiple disabilities. She does have cognitive disabilities and also does not have use of her hands. She is wheelchair bound and she communicates using her eye gaze. Barbara is a nonverbal student. She enjoys reading with her peers and she enjoys socializing. She has an IEP for academics, occupational therapy, physical therapy, adapted physical education, and speech. She comes from a high context collectivist culture. She is wheelchair bound. She communicates using a choice board with a choice of 2 to 4, depending on the situation, or she also uses her own personally owned communication device, which is called a Tobii, that picks up on her eye gaze. The second diverse learner is a 8-year-old male named Anthony, who comes from a white middle-class family who speaks only English in the home. He comes from a low context, individualistic culture where his family values explicit verbal communication. He is diagnosed with ADHD and he was taking medication to help his ADHD, but it was causing drowsiness during school hours, so he is no longer taking that medication. We have seen a major decrease in his ability to pay attention during class. He requires frequent movement breaks where he goes on various jobs such as pushing a weighted cart or jumping on a trampoline or going on a scooter and pushing on the floor on his stomach. He learns best when he's provided with one-to-one support from a classroom teacher or teacher assistant or support staff to keep him focused and review parts of a lesson that he might not have understood. He is reading at a second grade level, which is what grade he is in, but his reading comprehension is below grade level. Due to his severe ADHD, Anthony's listening skills also fall below that of his peers. His ability to write, whether it's a free write or on a teacher chosen topic, is a weakness for him as well. He struggles with getting his ideas onto paper and including detail in his writing. My third diverse learner is a 7-year-old bilingual female named Monique who speaks both English and Spanish at home, but the primary language spoken at home is Spanish. She comes from a high context collectivist background. Monique is an exited L since kindergarten, so she has been out of the ESL program for 2 years now. Within the classroom, she does often code switch and doesn't realize that she's doing it, so her peers who do not speak Spanish will remind her and she will immediately revert back to English. She comes from a low socioeconomic Hispanic family. Monique does receive free lunch at school due to her low family income. In the area of reading comprehension, Monique falls below grade level. She is reading at an end of first grade level and she is in second grade. Monique does require one-to-one support in the classroom from a teacher or support staff to complete work independently after a lesson has been given. Monique has difficulty in writing as she struggles with spelling as well as getting her thoughts down on paper. She is at a developing WIDA level 3 for speaking and writing, and for listening and reading, Monique falls in the emerging WIDA level 2. The final student I have chosen for my diverse learner project is an 8-year-old female named Anna, who comes from a low socioeconomic African American family where she lives solely with her mother. The primary language spoken in her home is English, although they do speak Spanish at home as well. Anna has difficulty socializing appropriately with her classmates as her family values individualism and low context situations. Anna receives weekly visits with the school social worker in one-to-one sessions for a half hour to work on her social skills. Anna will often argue with her peers when working in a group, and she always wants to be the leader of the group. Anna performs high academically in comparison to her peers. She's currently reading at an end of third grade level, and her reading comprehension is also above grade level. Anna is able to read or listen to a text before answering comprehension questions with no difficulty. Anna performs high in writing as well. She is able to write with a lot of detail in her writing. Her penmanship is easily readable by any adult. Anna does not have a WIDA level as she is not an English language learner. One of the highlights to my diverse learner project, I feel, was my objectives and my lesson activities. So due to time constraints, I'm just going to quickly review the objectives and activities, but you can read further into these on these slides if you would like to. So the content objective for my lesson is for students to be able to write procedural steps about conducting an experiment on rolling a ping pong ball down a ramp on a tile floor and on a carpet. So previously they did write a hypothesis and wrote down the materials for the lesson. So this is the third lesson in this unit. So students are going to watch the teacher roll the ping pong ball down a ramp on a tile floor 3 times and on a carpet 3 times, and the teacher will then record the distances that the ping pong ball traveled on a chart and then compare those results. As the teacher is completing each step in the experiment, she will explain the step to allow a model for the students for when they have to go back and independently write the steps out on their own. So one of the adaptations for this content objective is that Monique will be able to record the steps as the teacher is conducting the experiment. She'll be given the option to either write each step or to draw the steps. She does have difficulty writing down her thoughts and with spelling, so drawing may be easier for her, but the worksheet that she will be given also has a word bank, so she can use the word bank to help her fill in the blanks for this activity. Another area is for Barbara. She's going to work one-to-one with the special educator through the lesson. She's going to be given a choice of 2 pictures for each step and have to choose the correct picture to fill in the blank. These worksheets can be seen at the end of this slideshow to give you a better overview of what exactly it is that I am talking about. My writing objective for this lesson is for students to be able to write 9 procedural steps in conducting this experiment about the ping pong ball rolling down a ramp and on a tile floor or a carpet, and which one it will travel farther. So for this objective, it will be measured by students writing the 9 steps in their writer's notebook after the experiment has been conducted. So Barbara is going to be given sentences with words that are missing, and she'll be shown 2 pictures at a time and asked which choice correctly fits into the sentence. After Barbara has made the accurate choice, the teacher will help her hand over hand using a bingo dabber to mark her choice. Anthony receives occupational therapy services outside of school, so he does use a pencil grip throughout his day during writing, so he will use this pencil grip to improve his handwriting. He will sit with the general educator at the back table to work on this writing assignment, and the one-to-one support will help eliminate any distractions from his peers within the classroom. He'll have a fill-in-the-blank worksheet that also has a word bank to help with his writing. Monique will also follow the same steps as Anthony and will work one-to-one with the teacher as well, and will be given the worksheet with the word bank that you can see later in this presentation. My reading objective for this lesson is for students to be able to read their procedural steps to the 2 or 3 peers that are assigned to their group. So after writing down the procedural steps, students will be paired in a group of 3 to 4 students, and they will be required to read all 9 of their steps out loud to their peers. So for Barbara, because she is nonverbal, she will be having her steps recorded on a step-by-step switch by the special educator, and then she'll work with her small group and she will hit the switch for each new step to express her steps to her peers. Monique and Anna will be placed in a group together. These 2 students will be in a group together so that Anna can help Monique in reading the steps, as Monique does have difficulty in her reading skills and Anna is a high reader. Anthony is going to be placed in a group with 2 other students. He's going to be in a group with students who are quieter and who tend to stay on topic so that it will decrease any distractions that he might have, and it will help him to stay focused and stay on task when he is reading his steps for his procedural writing. My speaking objective is that students will will be able to give feedback to their peers on their procedural steps orally or by using a communication device. So students will be paired with 3 or 4 other students within the classroom, and they will be required to provide one area of strength to their peers and one area that they could improve upon. This will be required for all students to do for each peer in their group. So because Barbara is a nonverbal student, she will be provided with a yes or no choice board to engage with her peers and provide that feedback. The special educator will sit with Barbara during this part of the activity so that she will be able to ask the questions to Barbara and Barbara can participate in this way. Anna will assist Monique in providing feedback to her peers in their group. They'll work together to share at least one area of strength and one area for improvement to their peers, so they will work on this part of the lesson together. The final objective for this lesson is the listening objective. Students will be able to listen to their 2 or 3 partners' procedural steps by nodding and making eye contact to show that they are listening. So students have been working on this skill in the classroom during daily speaking and reading opportunities. The teacher will make sure that students are engaging and providing eye contact and nodding to show that they are listening by walking from group to group to make sure that all students are engaged. So Barbara does not have the ability to nod her head in an effective way and to make eye contact effectively. So she will show that she is listening to her peers by her facial expressions. When she is engaging with her classmates, she often will smile. So if the teacher notices that Barbara is smiling when her peers are talking, that will show that she has met this listening objective for the lesson. Anthony has difficulty making eye contact with his peers when he's speaking. So to show that he's met this objective, he will just be providing useful feedback to his peers. And if he is able to do that, the teacher will know that Anthony was listening when his peers were speaking to him. So my final highlight for my lesson, I felt, was my assessments. So this is an assessment that I have created and I adapted for Barbara. So she will be sitting with the special educator and the special educator will read the sentences. So for instance, the first one says, place blank on tile floor. The special educator will hold up 2 picture cards, one with a binder on it and one with a pencil, and will say, Barbara, what do you have to place on the tile floor? Is it the binder or is it a pencil? And then Barbara will be required to look at the binder, hopefully, if she is making an accurate choice. And then the teacher will use hand-over-hand assistance to help Barbara use a bingo dabber to mark the choice, the binder. This will happen for all 9 steps for this assignment. This is the writing assignment that I created and adapted for Anthony and Monique. So they are required to fill in the blanks for this assignment. It gives each step, steps 1 through 9. So they are still reading and having to write the steps, but it's modified so that they don't have to write out a whole sentence. So for Anthony and Monique, they will just have to read it. For instance, again, step 1, place blank on tile floor. Now they will have to look in the word bank and find the correct choice. So for step 1, it would be place binder on tile floor. So they would write the word binder and then they would cross it off in the word bank. The word bank allows them to see all of their choices and help them remember what the steps are, and it also helps them with their spelling.